I used to believe in love. I thought it was all about trust, care, and building a life together. And for a long time, I thought I had found the right person, the woman who would be by my side through everything. We laughed together, dreamed together, and planned our future like it was certain. But I was wrong. It didn't happen suddenly. The signs were there, hiding in plain sight. Little changes in her behavior. The way she smiled less at me but more at her phone. The night she stayed out late without a clear reason. I wanted to believe her every time she gave me an excuse. I told myself, she loves me. She wouldn't hurt me. I was a fool. The truth hit me like a storm I never saw coming. One night, I found out she was not only lying to me, but also laughing behind my back. And when I confronted her, she didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She looked at me and said, "I don't owe you anything." That was the moment I knew. I wouldn't shout. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't fight. I would play my final card. And she would never see it coming. I met Sarah on a rainy afternoon at a small coffee shop near my office. I had gone in for a quick cup of coffee, but the place was packed, and there was only one empty seat, across from her. She looked up, smiled politely, and moved her bag so I could sit. That smile, I still remember it. It was warm, like she was letting me into her world without even knowing me yet. We started talking. Nothing deep at first, just about the weather, the coffee, and the city traffic. But there was something about her voice, something calm and gentle, that made me want to keep listening. I didn't know it then, but that was the start of a story that would change my life. Over the next few weeks, I found myself at that coffee shop more often. Sometimes she was there, sometimes she wasn't, but when she was, it felt like my day got better. Eventually, I asked for her number. She laughed, saying, "I was wondering when you'd ask." Our first date was simple, dinner at a quiet restaurant. We talked for hours. She told me about her dreams to start her own business one day, about her love for traveling, and how she had always wanted a partner who would support her no matter what. I told her about my work, my family, and my dream of having a small home with a garden. Weeks turned into months, and we grew closer. We would take long walks in the park, watch movies on the couch, and cook together. I wasn't rich, but I tried to give her everything I could, my time, my attention, and my love. I also started making sacrifices for her. I took extra shifts at work, so I could afford the little trips she wanted. I skipped nights out with friends, so we could spend more time together. I even put some of my own dreams on hold because she said she needed me to be there for her. And honestly, I didn't mind. I thought that's what love was, putting the other person first. After a year, we decided to move in together. It felt like the next natural step. I was excited. I thought this was the beginning of our real life together. I found us a nice apartment, nothing fancy, but cozy and in a good neighborhood. I paid most of the rent and bills because she said her job didn't pay much. I didn't complain. I wanted her to feel safe and cared for. For a while, things were good. We had our routines. She would kiss me goodbye in the mornings, send me little messages during the day, and we'd have dinner together at night. Sometimes she'd even surprise me by cooking my favorite meal. I felt lucky. I told my friends I had found the one. But looking back now, I realized there were small cracks even then. She didn't like it when I asked too many questions about where she went after work. She started spending more time on her phone, turning the screen away when I walked by. When I asked, she would just say, "It's nothing. You're overthinking." I brushed it off. I thought, if I trust her, things will be fine. Besides, love isn't perfect, right? Every couple has small issues. And so I kept giving. More time, more money, more of myself. She became the center of my world. And I believed I was the center of hers. What I didn't know then was that while I was building a life for us, she was building a secret life of her own. At first, I didn't notice anything serious. Relationships change over time. People get busy, tired, stressed. That's what I told myself. But slowly, the little things started adding up. Sarah began working late more often. She said her boss had given her extra projects and that she needed to stay at the office. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She had never given me a reason not to trust her, but those late nights started turning into late weekends, too. She'd say she was going out with friends, but when I asked who, she'd just say, "You don't know them." It wasn't just her schedule. She became glued to her phone. When we first got together, she would leave her phone lying around without a second thought. Now, it was always in her hand or her pocket. If it buzzed, she would check it instantly, turning the screen away from me. Sometimes she'd smile at her phone in a way she hadn't smiled at me in weeks. One evening, I walked into the living room and she was on a video call. As soon as she saw me, she quickly ended it, saying it was just work. I wanted to believe her, but something felt off. Our conversations started getting shorter. I would ask about her day, and she'd give me one-word answers. When I tried to talk about our plans, vacations, buying a car, even just a weekend away, she would change the subject. One night, while we were having dinner, I noticed she was barely touching her food. She was staring at her phone under the table, smiling. I asked who she was talking to. She looked up, irritated, and said, "Do you have to question everything I do? Can I have some privacy?" That hit me hard. Privacy? Of course. Everyone deserves some. But this wasn't about space. This was about secrets. My friends started to notice too. One of them pulled me aside and said, "Hey, man, I don't want to start anything, but I saw Sarah last week. She wasn't alone. And it didn't look like a work meeting." I laughed it off. "You must be mistaken," I said. But deep down, my stomach twisted. I told myself I was overthinking, that maybe she was just stressed and needed space. But late at night, when I lay in bed alone, because she wasn't home yet, my mind would race. I started replaying every strange moment in my head, the late nights, the secretive phone calls, the sudden mood swings. I wanted to ask her directly, but a part of me was scared that if I asked, I would hear the answer I didn't want. So I kept quiet, hoping things would go back to normal. But things didn't go back to normal. They got worse. Looking back now, I realize those small cracks were actually the first sign that my relationship was about to break wide open. And when the truth finally came out, it shattered everything I thought I knew about her and about us. It happened on a Thursday night. I remember because it was raining outside, and Sarah had told me she would be working late again. I made myself some dinner, watched TV for a bit, and then decided to go to bed early. I was halfway asleep when my phone buzzed. It was a message from a mutual friend, Jake. We weren't very close, but we'd hung out a few times in group settings. The message said, "Hey, I don't know how to say this, but I just saw Sarah at a bar near my place with another guy. They were holding hands. I think you should know." At first, I just stared at the screen. My chest felt heavy. My brain refused to believe it. Jake had no reason to lie, but I wanted him to be wrong. I wanted there to be some other explanation. I texted him back, "Are you sure it was her?" His reply was instant. "I'm 100% sure." I even called her name, but she acted like she didn't see me. My hands were shaking. My first instinct was to call her right away, but I stopped myself. If I confronted her now, she'd just deny it. I needed to see it with my own eyes. So I grabbed my car keys and drove to the bar Jake mentioned. It wasn't far, maybe 15 minutes away. The whole drive there, my mind raced. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear in my ears. When I got there, I parked across the street. I spotted her instantly. She was sitting at a table near the window, laughing. Not the polite laugh she gave me at home, but that bright, carefree laugh she used to have in the early days of our relationship. Sitting next to her was a man I had never seen before, tall, well-dressed, leaning in close. And then I saw it. She reached across the table, touched his hand, and let him kiss her knuckles. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My stomach twisted, my chest tightened, and for a moment, I couldn't breathe. I wanted to storm in, yell, demand answers. But instead, I just stood there in the rain, watching. After a few minutes, they got up and walked out together. She didn't see me. I followed them quietly from a distance. They walked to his car, and before getting in, she wrapped her arms around him and kissed him on the lips. That was it. There was no more room for doubt. I drove home in silence. The rain blurred the streetlights, but I barely noticed. My mind was replaying the image of her with him, over and over, like a cruel movie I couldn't turn off. She came home 2 hours later. I was sitting at the kitchen table, waiting. She looked surprised to see me awake. "Oh, hey, you're still up?" she said casually, hanging her bag on the chair. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice steady but cold. She hesitated for half a second before answering. "I told you, work." I shook my head. "I saw you, Sarah, at the bar, with him." Her face changed instantly. No shock, no guilt, just annoyance. "So you follow me now? That's creepy. That's all you have to say?" I asked, feeling my voice rise. "You've been lying to me, cheating on me, and you think I'm the problem?" She rolled her eyes. "You're too sensitive. We've been drifting for months. And honestly, you don't excite me anymore. I don't owe you anything." Those words, they cut deeper than the cheating itself. She didn't cry. She didn't apologize. She just walked past me into the bedroom, as if I was the one who had done something wrong. I sat there for a long time after that, the house completely silent except for the rain tapping on the windows. And in that silence, something inside me shifted. I realized I wasn't going to yell or beg. I wasn't going to waste my time trying to fix something she had already destroyed. I was going to make my move. I was going to play my final card. That night, I barely slept. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, while Sarah snored softly next to me, as if nothing had happened. Her words kept replaying in my head. "I don't owe you anything." She thought I'd break down. She thought I'd cry, beg, and try to win her back. But no, that wasn't going to happen. If she didn't owe me anything, then I didn't owe her my kindness. By the time the sun came up, my mind was clear. I had a plan. I got out of bed quietly, showered, and went to work as usual. I didn't mention the night before. I acted normal, even cheerful. I needed her to believe I'd accepted what she said. I needed her guard to stay down. Over the next few days, I started preparing. First, I gathered all my important documents, my passport, bank statements, work contracts, insurance papers. I took them to the office and locked them in my desk drawer. Next, I went through our joint bank account. I transferred my share of the money into a separate account only in my name. I stopped depositing my paycheck into the joint account. I left just enough money there so she wouldn't get suspicious. I also started quietly packing my personal belongings, the things that truly mattered to me: family photos, gifts from my parents, my laptop, clothes, and anything of value that I had bought. I packed them into boxes and stored them at a friend's place. Sarah didn't notice. She was too busy working late and spending her free time on her phone. Every evening, she would come home smiling at messages from someone else, not realizing her own world was about to collapse. I even made arrangements for a new apartment. It was small, but it was mine, a fresh start, far away from her lies. I signed a lease but didn't move in yet. The final step was timing. I wanted to leave when she was least expecting it, when she'd feel the impact the most. That meant catching her while she was out with him. The opportunity came just a week later. She told me she had to go to a team dinner after work. I smiled, kissed her on the cheek, and said, "Have fun." She had no idea I was already one step ahead. The moment she left, I went into action. I moved through the apartment like a ghost, collecting the last of my things. My guitar, my watch collection, the TV I had bought, my gaming console, all into the car. I left behind only the things she had brought into the relationship. When the place was nearly empty, I took one last look around. It didn't even feel like home anymore. It felt like a stage where the final scene of a play had just ended. Before leaving, I placed an envelope on the kitchen counter. Inside was a short note. "You played your game. This was mine. You don't owe me anything, and I don't owe you anything either. Goodbye." I locked the door behind me and drove away without looking back. As I reached my new apartment, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. I knew she would come home later, see the empty space, and realize she had lost more than just my love. She had lost everything she thought she could take for granted. Sarah's team dinner was scheduled to last until late that night, and I knew she wouldn't be back before midnight. That gave me plenty of time. After packing the last of my things and placing the envelope on the counter, I did a slow walk through the apartment one more time. The silence felt heavy, but not painful, not anymore. I had already grieved for this relationship in my heart. Now, I was just making it official. I checked every room to make sure nothing of mine was left behind. The living room looked strangely big without the TV and the shelves I had bought. The bedroom felt cold without my clothes in the closet. The kitchen was bare, all my cooking equipment gone. I had even taken the coffee machine, the one she always used in the mornings. When I was sure everything was done, I locked the door and drove off, leaving behind the life we once had. A few hours later, while I was settling into my new place, my phone started ringing. It was Sarah. I didn't answer. A minute later, another call came in. Then another. I ignored them all. Finally, a text came through. "Where is everything?" I put the phone down without replying. 10 minutes later, more messages started pouring in. "Are you serious right now? This isn't funny. You can't just take everything." Her panic was almost visible through the words on the screen. I imagined her walking from room to room, realizing just how much of that apartment was mine, and how much of her comfort depended on the things I had provided. Then came the angry messages. "You're petty. This is childish. You'll regret this." I still didn't reply. I wasn't looking for an argument. I wasn't looking for closure from her. This was my closure. The calls kept coming for hours, but I blocked her number. I blocked her on social media too. There would be no more conversations, no more explanations. She had made her choice, and I had made mine. The next day, a mutual friend told me she had posted a vague rant online about toxic men who can't handle strong women. I laughed when I heard that. It didn't matter what story she told others. I knew the truth, and so did she. As I sat in my new apartment, surrounded by my things, I felt lighter. There was no more tension in my chest, no more late nights wondering where she was. Just quiet, peaceful freedom. She had played her game, and I had played my final card. For the first time in months, I woke up without that heavy feeling in my chest. No wondering if she was lying. No listening for the sound of her coming home late. Just silence. The kind of silence that feels like peace, not loneliness. Still, part of me wondered what her reaction had been when she walked in that night. I imagined her unlocking the door, stepping inside, and freezing when she saw the empty living room. I could almost see her face shifting from confusion to anger, then to panic as she ran from room to room, realizing most of the apartment wasn't hers at all. She tried contacting me through mutual friends, but I told them I didn't want to talk to her. A few of them were shocked at what had happened. Others weren't. Apparently, rumors about her friendships had been going around for a while. I guess I had been the last one to see the truth. I later heard that things didn't work out with the man she was seeing. He disappeared not long after I left. Without my financial support, Sarah had to downsize to a smaller apartment. She sold a lot of her belongings to cover expenses. I didn't take any joy in her struggles, but I also didn't feel sorry for her. She had made her choices. As for me, I focused on rebuilding my life. I spent more time with friends I had neglected during the relationship. I reconnected with my family. I even started picking up hobbies I'd given up for her, like playing guitar and going hiking on weekends. People often think revenge has to be loud, messy, and dramatic. But the truth is, sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply walking away and taking everything they assumed they could keep. Sarah had once told me, "I don't owe you anything." And now, I didn't owe her anything either. Not my time, not my attention, not even an explanation. For the first time in a long time, I felt completely free. Looking back now, I realized the biggest mistake I made wasn't loving Sarah. It was ignoring the signs. I saw the small lies, the late nights, the way her eyes lit up for her phone, but not for me. I saw it all, but I chose to believe the version of her I had built in my head, not the one standing in front of me. Love can make you blind, but betrayal opens your eyes. When she told me, I don't owe you anything. It was meant to hurt me, to make me feel small and powerless. Instead, it became the push I needed to take my power back. That was the moment I understood something important. You don't have to fight to keep someone who doesn't want to stay. Walking away wasn't easy. It meant letting go of the life I thought we were building. It meant accepting that the future I had imagined no longer existed. But it also meant I could start over on my own terms. I learned that real strength isn't in how loud you can yell or how hard you can hit back. Sometimes strength is in the quiet choices, the decision to leave, to take what's yours, and to never look back. If there's one thing I hope anyone hearing my story understands, it's this. Don't waste your love on someone who treats it like it's disposable. Don't give pieces of yourself to someone who's already giving theirs to someone else. Sarah played with my heart, but in the end, I played my final card, and I won my freedom.